Hi, I'm Avery Davidson.
And I'm Kristen Oaks-White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Well, Congress is back in session after the election, and their priority needs to be the passage of a new farm bill and immediate supplemental assistance.
That's the message Louisiana Farm Bureau leaders took with them as they visited with the state's congressional delegation.
This is the view of the U.S. Capitol from the top of the American Farm Bureau Federation building. It may seem far away, but when the Louisiana Farm Bureau Board Executive Committee shows up to meet the state's delegation, there's a closeness that's been cultivated over more than 100 years.
We had great receptions everywhere we went. The Farm Bureau brand is big and bold here in D.C. with our constituents and staff because of the relationships that have been built over the years and the support and the interaction that we do with them, both in the districts and here in Washington, D.C. So we had great reception, great cooperation, and great interest in our efforts and what we're trying to do here today, and I do think we'll be successful before they conclude.
What these Louisiana Farm Bureau leaders are trying to do is get Congress to not only pass a new farm bill, but also immediate supplemental economic assistance for farmers and ranchers who have suffered through rising input costs and low commodity prices.
The farm bill that just expired failed. It failed to protect the producer, not only in Louisiana, but across the California to North Carolina, all the way up to Minnesota. We're all hurting, and the main reason for that is we saw a 25 to 30% reduction in market prices from the time we planted the crop to when we began harvest in mid to late August. So again, we had a good crop, but prices are not there, and I think that's why the horn kind of got sounded early. People were cutting big crops, and that got the bankers involved. We realized that very early on that we were headed to a crisis.
The bank that I have historically done business with for quite a while, they have made a decision to exit the row crop industry. They will not be lending to the row crop. We're hearing stories that other banks are telling farmers to pump the brakes until we get a farm bill or we get a farm act to try to make those balance sheets look better for next spring. But I actually know a bank personally that has decided they're out of the row crop industry.
It's personal stories like those the executive committee shared with Mississippi Congressman Trent Kelly, co-author of the Farm Act, a measure that would provide farmers and ranchers with financial assistance within 90 days of passage. Louisiana 3rd District Congressman Clay Higgins and Louisiana 5th District Congresswoman Julia Letlow have signed on as co-sponsors.
I'm having really great conversations with my colleagues about the Farm Act. They understand how important it is that our farmers receive that assistance that they desperately need. I give all the praise to Congressman Trent Kelly for authoring that bill, but it was a wonderful opportunity for us to be there for our farmers. When they call us, we listen, and when they're hurting, we want to make sure that they have the supplemental payments that they need in order to keep the farms going.
This photo is an example of what can only happen when Louisiana Farm Bureau leaders visit Washington, D.C., a chance to share the concerns of Louisiana's farmers and ranchers with House Ag Committee Chairman G.T. Thompson of Pennsylvania on a balcony overlooking the U.S. Capitol.
When you introduce yourself to a House member, say you're from Louisiana, say you're an officer with Louisiana Farm Bureau, they know what that means. They understand why we're here.
Any opportunity to connect with your lawmakers, both at the state level and obviously at the national level, is well worth the effort. And it doesn't have to be a trip to fly to Washington, D.C. to get it done. You don't have to drive to Baton Rouge to get that done. Visit the town halls, visit your local offices, make your voice heard, because they need to hear from their electorates. They need to hear from their voters.
We're here representing you as Louisiana producers and Farm Bureau members, but we need your help to be successful at the end of the day. We're just one piece of that puzzle. You are the rest of that puzzle. So as we reach out and ask you to engage, whether it be voter voice or any other means, please do so, because we are Farm Bureau, you are the boots on the ground, and together we can make this a success.
This trip was only one step in the effort to pass a farm bill and the Farm Act. We need you for the other step. Scan the QR code on your screen, sign up for Voter Voice, and send a message to your senators and representative in Congress to let them know you want them to take action now. You'll also find a link with this story on our website at twilatv.org.
Each year, the American Farm Bureau releases its annual survey of nationwide grocery store prices to see what you can expect to pay for a typical Thanksgiving meal.
This week, TWILA's Neil Malauson takes those results and brings them down to the Louisiana level, where we tend to pay less for a few of those staples.
It's a busy time here at Shoppers Value Grocery in Ruston. Ahead of Thanksgiving, grocery stores like this one are expecting a deluge of shoppers. While Black Friday comes after Thanksgiving for most retailers, it's before the holiday for most grocery stores.
Thanksgiving, that's one of the biggest days of the year for us. And in fact, the day before Thanksgiving is really our day that we really do most of our sales. Where we have a large display of holiday items that we put out there, basically baking items. We call it our baking display. We have our turkeys and hams. That's where we book our merchandise and have it ready and have the waiting on the business to arrive. But between now and Thanksgiving it generated a lot of sales, and we still do well the day before Thanksgiving.
Parks says they've doubled the number of deals here at the store.
In fact, we just put, we call it our AdMax program, we just put 999 extra items on sale in relation to Thanksgiving. So they're different. We use bib tags on those to get the customer's attention, and they are big discounts. So we do quite a bit.
Speaking of discounts, this year the annual American Farm Bureau Thanksgiving Survey delivered a second year of good news. Prices are down about 5% from last year after dropping about that much in 2023. As you can see from this tally, prices hit an all-time high during the pandemic and have been dropping steadily, but we're still almost 20% above where we were pre-pandemic. This year's total of $58.08 averages to about $5.80 per person. Looking at specific items, you can see not all items went down. Turkey was a big mover this year, though, down 6% to $25.67 for a 16-pound turkey. Stuffing, meanwhile, was up almost 8% to more than $4, while half a pint of whipped cream was up almost 5% to $1.81. Desserts are cheaper this year. Frozen pie crusts are down about 3% to $3.40, while pumpkin pie mix is down 6.5% to $4.15. Milk is a big mover down, with the national survey showing a more than 14% drop to $3.21 a gallon. Fresh cranberries are back up after a big drop this year, up almost 12% to $2.35 for 12 ounces, while sweet potatoes were the biggest movers down this year to $2.93 for 3 pounds. All of the miscellaneous ingredients, such as spices, are down more than 5% to $3.75. For a full list of all survey items, including an expanded survey, we'll link you over to our website at twilatv.org. And while you may feel prices are still too high, no one is being affected more than farmers and ranchers, who are being hit this year with both a high overhead and low commodity prices, according to American Farm Bureau economist Barrett Nelson.
This year's basket of goods is a reflection of the overall economy. While inflation has slowed, it hasn't slowed enough to bring costs back down to pre-pandemic levels. It's important to remember that farmers and ranchers are also dealing with inflation. The cost of supplies to grow food has gone up, while USDA predicts net farm income to be down nearly 25% compared to just 2 years ago. Farmers' share of the food retail dollar is just a small percentage, and higher grocery costs don't necessarily mean an increase in a farmer's profits.
I want to thank Randy and Shopper Value Foods for having me here today. And speaking of being thankful, as you sit down for your Thanksgiving meal this year, I hope you take a moment to think about the men and women who brought you that food. This next year in farming is likely to be difficult for farmers especially, and I hope as you enjoy your bounty, you think about what they're going to need in the times ahead. Reporting from Ruston, I'm Neil Melanson.
If you want to see the full market basket report or the latest consumer price index numbers, we'll have links on our website at twilatv.org.
Last year's record drought nearly crippled the 2024 crawfish season. Thankfully, rainfall was much better this year, and there's optimism looking ahead to 2025. Craig Gotro with the LSU Ag Center went to check out a few ponds.
Believe it or not, crawfish season has started. Producers in southwest Louisiana have been flooding their rice fields to encourage adult crawfish to emerge from their burrows with their hatchlings.
This year, we're seeing a lot more open burrows, which hopefully means crawfish have emerged with young hatchlings, recruits, and are now spreading out in the field.
Last year, Fontenot did not catch any young crawfish while sampling ponds until December. He is encouraged by what he is seeing now.
And we are catching young crawfish. Also catching multiple sizes of crawfish, which is a good indicator that you'll have multiple generations, multiple sizes, so that you'll have a continuous catch.
Some crawfish producers are just beginning to harvest their second crop of rice out of fields that will then become their crawfish ponds. Harvesting a second crop can cause lower crawfish yields, but for rice and crawfish farmer Paul Zonbrecker, it can provide a benefit.
We actually have better crawfish, better sized crawfish in some of these second crop fields, and it allows us to have crawfish to mix later with some of the smaller stuff to make them profitable and make them sellable.
With above average temperatures throughout October, conditions have been good for both maturing rice and growing crawfish.
The crawfish should be growing, so hopefully we'll see some crawfish hitting the markets at least by the first of the year this year.
Fontenot said there's been significant growth in crawfish acreage, and he expects to see nearly 400,000 acres in production this year. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Ocher reporting.
According to Fontenot, farmers are hoping to produce between 800 and 1,000 pounds of crawfish per acre.
Still to come on TWILA.
Beef and mushrooms are what's for dinner. I'll take you feasting on agriculture just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday. Stay with us.
You're watching This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
Welcome to Feasting on Agriculture. I'm Kristen Oaks-White, and today we're in St. Francisville, Louisiana at the Myrtles Plantation. We're going to visit restaurant 1796, where farm to table meets high-end cuisine.
Feasting on Agriculture is brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, Ask Before You Eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, Beef, It's What's for Dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board. Think rice.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here. Kristen.
Hi, Chef Daniel. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kristen.
Maggie.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Executive Chef Daniel Dreer. I've been at the Myrtles at Restaurant 1796. As like I said, I'm the last original hire, the OG. 1796, we're coming up on our 6th year of being open. We are a wood fire restaurant where we have a 10-foot hearth, which is directly behind us.
Yeah.
We try to have everything kind of touch the hearth.
It's a high-end restaurant, but with farm to table, you know?
It's so fun to have all these things, like these items to play with. It just kind of helps really with the creativity, you know, to have the different mushrooms that Maggie used. I have used her mushrooms in so many different dishes, and I mean, it's pretty much, we're getting 15 to 20 pounds every single week.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I brought some oysters. I brought the grays, the pinks, and the golds. And those are really great mushrooms. Those are actually the ones that Chef Daniel uses.
In the lasagna.
Right, correct. And then I've also brought the chestnuts, which have a good mild nutty flavor. We've got the piopinos here, which kind of have this similar flavor, mild nutty, earthy flavor. The gray oysters were good. These are a good first starter ones if you're unfamiliar with all of these, because it's mild, it takes on the flavors you're cooking with. It's not super overwhelming. And then you have the lion's mane.
I was about to say, you have to tell me about the fuzzy one.
So this one is a good substitute for meat. People use it for like making like a faux crab cake or pulled pork out of it.
Okay.
And it's the most medicinal mushroom that we grow.
What I hope people experience when they come here is really, I like people to get out their comfort zones. So I like to make the menu where it's things that you understand. People will come in and I was like, you know, look, if you want to try something safe, we have safe options. If you want to try to actually explore something that you're not used to eating, this is a great place to kind of push your own boundaries and everything like that. And that's what I look forward to the guests is, like, come in here and enjoy the experience that we give here. If you want to try something different, I encourage it.
Your artistic ability truly showcases in your dishes because they are phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see that you've got them in bags of sawdust.
It is, it's sawdust. So it would look just like sawdust whenever we first make them. And then all the white stuff you see is the actual, it's called mycelium, and that's the actual fungus. The mushroom is actually just the fruit of it.
Okay.
So think of it as a plant. So like the mycelium here is kind of like the stem. The mushrooms are the flowers, you know?
How many mushrooms do y'all grow sell in a year?
1,200 pounds just from our 33 by whatever foot grow room, you know?
It's a lot of fungus.
It's a lot of fungus.
It's a lot of fungus.
A lot of fungus. The fungus is among us.
Do not go anywhere, because when we come back, Chef Daniel is going to take us into his kitchen and whip up a mushroom and beef lasagna that I promise you, you do not want to miss. Stay with us.
The next part is really the labor of the love of the project. It's actually building.
So we're back in the kitchen with Daniel. This is one of your special recipes that you told me about, and I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
Beef?
So beef, yes, short rib, one of my favorite things. So I have always loved short ribs since I was cooking in St. Louis. It's something that is always on the menu in some different form of way. And right now with our fall menu, this is how it currently is. It's our short rib lasagna. It's one of our customers' favorites. It's something they come back and be like, is it on the menu? I'm like, no, I like to bring it back for the fall. So we're gonna start by dumping our meat. We're gonna really let that fat kind of break down in there before we kind of add that mushrooms. As you can see, just kind of building up all them little caramel bits on the bottom of that pan. What I do in between the layers of everything is a little bit of whipped ricotta. So I pretty much add salt, pepper, garlic powder, and then we're gonna have some little dried parsley. So and then we're just gonna kind of mix all that together, and this is gonna be kind of the filling that goes in between the layers of lasagna, you know? So it's like kind of a little herb ricotta that I do with the lemon zest that kind of really goes well with the short rib and the mushrooms as well. So you can see we generated a good bit of fat into the short rib mixture itself. It's starting to break down. So we're gonna go ahead and add the mushrooms. The meat and the mushrooms blend in really well. We're gonna add in just our little house marinara that we have. So it's just kind of a basic tomato basil marinara that we make here. And so we're gonna let that kind of cook into everything. Yeah, so that's our mix right there. And so the next step is I'm gonna show you how we build it. So we're gonna start off with some of that house marinara, and pretty much we're just gonna cover the bottom of the pan with it. We're gonna take the lasagna sheet down, spread our herb ricotta, then we're gonna add the meat mixture.
You don't use bell peppers or onions or anything in there?
I do not.
Okay.
You know, like I said, the short rib is braised with a whole bunch of aromatics, so it has a lot of that flavor in there. So from there, then what we're gonna do, Parmesan over that. All right, you think you're ready to give this a shot? I'm gonna start with the herb ricotta.
I think so. Whoop. Already messed up.
Hey, look, that's part of it. Having fun in cooking is, for me, the biggest reason why I've done it for so many years. I truly enjoy creating something new and just having the experience that comes with it and the stories that goes with cooking as well. And then the last part we're going to finish off with is the rest of the sauce. This is provolone. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to throw this bad boy in the oven.
Okay.
So we're going to put it in the oven, about a 350 oven, for about 40 minutes to make sure it's all hot and toasty and bubbly. So, and that's the good thing about having the meat already kind of hot and building it fresh like that. It doesn't take traditionally as long as most lasagnas do. All right, so we have our short rib lasagna. How I finish plating it is we take a little bit of Ewing's Farm, which is a local farm as well. We take their goat cheese and we whip it with a little bit of feta of theirs as well, and a little bit of lemon juice as well.
Well, I'm gonna, if we're getting permission.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to town. Yeah. This is amazing.
Thank you.
And it's not even a.
Need some mushroom.
This might be one of the best things that we've ever eaten on this show.
I try. That's what I tell everybody.
Oh my God.
I try.
Thank you again to Daniel and Maggie for welcoming us here today and offering such wonderful ingredients for an awesome shoot. If you want to learn more about Restaurant 1796 or Mushroom Maggie and find out where you can get some of those mushrooms for yourself, you can visit our website at twilatv.org. Until next time, we'll see you feasting on agriculture.
Feasting on Agriculture was brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board. Think rice.
Time now for this week's TWILA Boost, and even though it's November, we're still celebrating September as National Rice Month.
Every month is Rice Month, right? Well, here's one of the entries for the National Rice Month Scholarship sent in by Lacassine High School student and FFA member Kenzie Brissell.
Rice, a cash crop for many farmers in the United States. Home to almost 6,000 farms in the states of Arkansas, California, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Texas. But this tasty grain is very special, especially for the farmers in my home state of Louisiana. This is life behind the rice dryer. Located right off of Interstate 10 is the hidden gem of Jeff Davis Parish. If you blink, you've passed right through the town, but our major landmarks are our only skyscrapers, the Hardy Rice Dryer and the South Louisiana Rail Facility. These two businesses have been the backbone of our community for years. Supporting over 50 family farms in the parish, the Hardy Rice Dryer has been here since day one, providing a resource for not only the farmer, but jobs for dryer workers, truck drivers, and administrators. Same goes for our newest addition to the town, the $8 million most technologically advanced rice mill in the Western Hemisphere, owned by none other than the farmers themselves. The same people who are in the fields irrigating, growing, and harvesting the crop we all know and love are able to export their rice straight from the mill, either in super bags, 18-wheelers, or in the rail cars that pass throughout the whole entire nation. 85% of the rice consumed in the States is produced in the States, and this is something that the USA rice industry is extremely proud of and celebrates. But one way that Louisiana celebrates is by holding the International Rice Festival. As harvest season comes to a close in late October, people from around the world will flock to the parish right next to mine, Acadia. This is where the commodity is showcased, while also highlighting and supporting the folks who made it all happen, the farmers. Within the past 3 years, my town of Lacassine has been home to 2 International Rice Festival queens, traveling and advocating for all things U.S. rice. This commodity is special to me because it's my roots, my hometown, and a part of my family's livelihood. Agriculture affects everyone, so the next time you eat a meal with rice, pass a combine on the road, or even drive through small towns like my own, always remember to think rice and thank a farmer.
Those video editing skills, and in high school, where'd I go wrong? I had to wait till college.
I'll blame it on technology. They've got so much more to use than we had.
I'm going to blame it she's just better than I am.
Probably.
Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. We're going to be taking next week off to be with our families for Thanksgiving, so you'll see this show again. We'll join you with something new in December.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and check out our TikTok page. And you can also find all of these stories on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we put out new content.
For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next month, and be sure to thank a farmer when you sit down to Thanksgiving feast.